Oh my gosh, I'm like holding my breath, guys. Hey guys, Madison here, back for another Film Friday, and today is going to be super fun because I decided to do something a little different on this week's Patreon poll. I decided to pick 4 movies that had been gifted to me in my mailbag videos and put those on the poll and see which one won. So that was super fun and a really great way to involve people who have sent me movies, which I'm so grateful for. I was like, I'm just gonna pick 4 of the ones and put them on the poll and see what happens. And the winner of this week's poll, far and away, was The Bridge on the River Kwai, which I knew absolutely nothing about until I read a brief little synopsis. It didn't spoil anything. It just said British POWs they're ordered to build this bridge across the River Kwai by their Japanese captors. And so I kind of figured it was a war movie, just like looking at the cover of the DVD and stuff. I kind of figured that's what I was in for, but that gave me a little bit more of a specific idea of where we are and what's happening. I knew that it was in Thailand. I had been told that, and I'm really excited about the cast. 2 members of the cast in particular, William Holden and Alec Guinness, who to me is dear old Obi-Wan from Star Wars. And I know Alec Guinness would not want to be remembered as Obi-Wan. I know that was not his role that he was most proud of, but that's how I grew up knowing Alec Guinness, and I don't believe I've ever seen him in anything else. So this is going to be the first time. I'm really excited. And William Holden, I did not know until I started this channel. And I've seen him in The Wild Bunch and The Towering Inferno. So that's where I know him from. And yeah, again, I did not know him till I started watching his movies on my channel, and I really, really like him. He has a lot of gravitas in his performances. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him and Alec Guinness in a movie together. Before I jump in here and get started, I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone who has sent me a movie in my mailbag videos. If you want to do that and you haven't yet, you can find my P.O. box in the description of this video, or you can just find it on my channel in the About section. You can send me movies, you can send me a letter, you can send me whatever you want. So yeah, just wanted to shout out all of the people who have been so kind to send me things in my Mads Mail videos. I'm so grateful for you guys. Y'all are the best. So yeah, I thought this would be a really cool and fun way to involve you guys more on my channel in the movie selection process. So send me a movie in the mail. You never know, it might just end up on a poll. So, all right, guys, without further ado, it's time. It's time to jump in and check out the River Kwai. So, let's do this. That's a lot of crosses. And we're here at the camp, based on the novel. I wonder how much this account was fictionalized or how much of it is just straight up history, what happened. They all look like they're in pretty rough shape already. I wonder how long they've been here.
Finish well.
Captain, turn him up.
How about a butt?
I give you a butt this morning.
I want to return the favor. I want you to keep this lighter.
Okay, you go on the sick list. Him too.
Interesting. He's on pretty good terms with this guy.
Here lies... You know, Weaver, I've forgotten who we just buried.
Thompson.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's terrible.
May you rest in peace. He found little enough of it while he was alive.
Man, one of those camps? About the last place I would ever want to be. Their shoes falling apart.
My name is Nicholson.
I am Colonel Saito.
I am the commanding officer of this camp. You British prisoners have been chosen to build a bridge across the River Kwai.
That's Alec Guinness, isn't it? I knew it the moment I heard him speak. That iconic voice of his.
If you do not work hard, you will be punished. Award to you.
Gotta love how he's standing on a box trying to be all high and mighty and superior.
I can assure you my men will carry on in the way one expects of the British soldier. The use of officers for manual labor is expressly forbidden by the Geneva Convention.
Is that so?
I don't know if he's gonna care about what the Geneva Convention says. That poor man, does he ever get to move? He's just always sitting there pulling on whatever that thing is.
This is Commander Shears of the United States Navy.
And your group here?
Mostly Aussies, some Lime, some British, Indians, Burmese, Siamese.
The lone American in the group.
The officers in your party did manual labor.
I think you could call it that.
Actually, I raised that very point with Colonel, what's his name?
Saito.
I think he understands the situation now. I must say he seems quite a reasonable type.
His optimism about the situation is going to be quickly dispelled, I have a feeling.
I can think of a lot of things to call Saito, but reasonable, that's a new one.
Yeah, it's not one of them.
About the escape committee, sir.
Escape where? No need for barbed wire here. 1 chance in 100 of survival.
Oh, I'd say the odds against a successful escape are about 100 to 1. The odds against survival in this camp are even worse. You've seen the graveyard.
Fair point.
In Singapore, we were ordered to surrender, therefore, in our case, escape
What?
might well be an infraction of military law.
You mean you intend to uphold the letter of the law no matter what it costs?
Without law, Commander, there is no civilization.
Well, there's definitely no law in a prison camp.
I suggest we drop the subject of escape.
This is an interesting conflict. The man wanting to escape and the man refusing to try.
Our men must always feel they are still commanded by us and not by the Japanese. So long as they have that idea to cling to, they'll be soldiers and not slaves.
I hope they can remain soldiers, Colonel. As for me, I'm just a slave.
He's been in isolation too long, poor chap. Cut off from his unit. It should be a lesson to all of us.
Hey, he's the one wanting to try to escape. He's got a will to live, and you guys are just like surrendering because you were ordered to.
From the moment you surrendered, you cease to be soldiers. You will finish the bridge by the 12th day of May. All men will work. Your officers will work beside you.
All men will work, so that means the officers too, right? So much for the rule of law.
They will join you in useful labor.
I must call your attention, Colonel Saito, to Article 27 of the Geneva Convention.
Dude, he doesn't care. He's gonna just rip that from your hands and tear it
Other
up.
than officers...
Give me the book.
By all means. You see, the code specifically states that the...
What code? The coward's code.
My officers will not do manual labor.
We shall see. Take up. Go.
Hmm.
Wait. March. Right.
Yeah, they're not listening to the Japanese. So that's quite a point there. Like, you might want to be in the English officers' good graces because they're the ones who really command the men's loyalty. And I'm afraid the Japanese will resort to violence very shortly. They're not going to like feeling usurped.
What's he up to? Looks like he doesn't want any witnesses.
Uh-oh. Sometimes I hate it when I'm right.
You will order your officers to work.
No.
I'll count 3. 1,
I warn you, Colonel Saito.
2.
There are too many witnesses.
Get ready.
Is this your soldier's code? Murdering unarmed men?
I was like, please don't kill Alec Guinness so early in the movie. It's gonna be a travesty. It's just gonna leave them standing there?
I'll say this for the old man. He's got guts.
Kind of guts that can get us all killed.
Oh. He didn't tell them he couldn't move, did he? I mean, I would just sit down and see if I could get away with it.
Colonel Saito says, all officers to punishment hut. Tell them to go, please.
Punishment hut? Is that what I just heard?
Not you, please. Can you know how to cut yours?
Uh-oh. They might end up with a riot on their hands if they don't treat the officers better. What did they do to him?
They're gonna put him in the oven.
The oven? What? What is the oven? I don't know if I want to know. Oh, is it just a box that gets really, really hot? That would be awful. What just happened? Oh. Did he just kill those 2 guys that were trying to run away? Go, go, go. Oh no. Did he just die? Surely not. It's a fake out, it's a fake out, he's alive, she says in hopeful delusion. He lives! Thank goodness.
Let's go! Let go!
You told them to let go. Oh my gosh. I know this is a terrible comparison, but have you guys ever been in a porta potty in the summer heat outside? I imagine that's what it would feel like in there. If you haven't experienced it, awful. It's like you can't breathe in there. It's like 10 degrees hotter than it actually is outside. The worst. Sorry, that's my closest point of reference.
Enlisted prisoners sabotage the work.
Are you sure it's sabotage? Perhaps the men don't work well without their own officers to direct them.
My officers will direct them. Your
Perhaps.
officers will walk beside them.
The Japanese officers don't know what they're talking about with how to build that bridge.
If his officers will not work, I'll be forced to close the hospital. And your patient will work in their place. And many will die. And he will be responsible. Go and speak to him. You have 5 minutes.
Oh boy.
Jennings is dead. Killed attempting to escape. Also 2 others with him, Corporal Weaver and the American.
Oh, I just had a word with Saito. I think he's mad.
You can't stand much more of this. Wouldn't the officers be better off working than suffocating in that hole?
Yes.
And if he makes the sick men work, they're going to die.
Yes, Clipton, I understand. But don't you see it's a matter of principle?
No.
Give in, sir. Please. I'm adamant. I will not have an officer from my battalion working as a coolie.
I understand having principles, having a code, and sticking to it, and the importance of that, but in this situation, it's more beneficial for his men to be out working than be shut up in a box like him. They're gonna die in there.
Did you say that American chap was killed?
Yes, sir. Shot and drowned.
It's insane to plan escapes. 3 men killed. Under what end?
There's nothing morally wrong with him letting his officers work. He's sticking to a code past the point of when he should. It's better for them to be out and with the other soldiers working instead of in there suffocating to death like he is. It just makes no sense. He says the Japanese guy's mad, but he's kind of mad for doing this. I mean, if he wants to make a decision to stay shut up in the box, fine, but don't do that to the rest of your men.
Colonel won't give in.
They're times to compromise and times not to compromise, and I feel like this is a time to compromise for everyone involved.
As medical officer, I must protest at the way he's being treated.
He is responsible, not I.
Are they both mad? Or am I going mad?
They're both mad. You're correct. This is all madness out in just the humid heat of the jungle. Man unleashed. Man, he is in rough shape. What is he gonna do? Ugh. Not vultures. Ugh, a kite. Did he find a village? Maybe they'll help him. Progress is not going as planned.
I shall be in personal command. As a token of regard for your efforts in the future, I give presents to you all. Oi!
Yeah, I'm sure they're real thrilled about your present.
Let us be happy in our work. Company, dismiss!
They actually are happy about it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This construction is not going according to plan. No one knows what they're doing. What are they doing? Have they taken another bribe? They taken him to see the man in charge again?
Good evening, Colonel. Do you mind sitting over here? I am having rather a late supper.
Can barely walk. Oh, he's actually gonna give him some? I was gonna say, he's gonna sit there and eat right in front of him. Oh, he refused.
I studied that. My father disapproved. He felt I belong in the army. I changed from art to engineering. I have been thinking and decided to put majors and above on administrative duties, leaving only the junior officers to lend a hand.
I'm afraid not. The convention's quite clear on that point.
Man, he's trying to compromise with you.
Do you know what will happen to me if the bridge is not ready in time?
I haven't the foggiest.
I'll have to kill myself.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure from his commanding officers.
Perhaps you are not aware that the bridge is now under my personal command.
Really? And may I ask, are you satisfied with the work?
I am not.
Proved my point.
I hate the British. You are defeated, but you have no shame. I hate the British.
Pointless going on like this.
Stay there. Oi!
Man, I felt like he was just about to make his own proposition, and then it just devolves into anger. The Japanese colonel was, I guess, Alec, as I'm going to call him, was about to make his own proposition that maybe his officers could oversee the work but not engage in the manual labor, and then that would adhere to his code. But we didn't get that far. At least we have something good happening. These villagers were very kind to our American commander. Commander Holden. Escaping has gone well so far for him. What's he gonna do now, though? Is he gonna go back and try to help anybody else escape? Because, I mean, he's on an island, so... Oh no, is he sick? Oh, he's at the edge of the island. Can't sail away on that little thing, though. How many days have they been baking him in this oven?
Stand out! Stand out!
Oh my goodness. He looks terrible. He's trying so hard not to show how bad off he is in front of his men. Trying so hard to be tough.
It's the anniversary of our great victory over Russia. In honor of this occasion, I'm declaring a general amnesty. It will not be necessary for officers to do manual labor.
Oh, really? Like for good? No manual labor? Do we finally have a little victory here?
He's done it.
Well done, sir. There was so much said in just that little buttoning of his shirt. Japanese colonel was just looking for an excuse to let them out. Thank goodness he's out of the oven. I can't believe they're like sort of making me feel bad for that guy. He's in a job he didn't want. He's under all this pressure from his superiors in the Japanese military. I feel kind of bad for him.
The Japanese couldn't have picked a worse location. There's no bottom.
Where would you build it?
Why, further downstream, sir.
We'll show them what the British soldier is capable of doing. We must draw up our plans, then arrange a conference with Saito.
The bridge has been in that same condition for like however long.
Well, I think that takes care of all the procedural matters.
Safe to say it's been a disaster so far.
Major Reeves, our engineer, has made a careful study of the site and has come to the conclusion that the river bottom there is too soft. If we're to avoid disaster, we build a new bridge at the site selected by Major Reeves, 400 yards downstream. And let's proceed to the next point.
You'd think with Colonel Saito becoming an engineer, he would have known this.
It would save considerable time if we could carry on working during dinner.
If we increase the number of squads and specialize the functions of each, I'm certain that the total daily output can be increased by 30%.
They are bringing order to the chaos, man. They've got a plan.
Can you finish the bridge in time?
Frankly, the consensus of opinion is that it's impossible. But we'll certainly give it a go. We've wasted over a month through an unfortunate disagreement, for which I was not to blame. Is there anything else?
Twisting that knife in there. I don't know if he's gonna like the British stepping on his toes like that, but he kind of has no choice at this point if he wants that bridge finished and not to have to die. It's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
There are trees in this forest very similar to elm. And the elm paths of London Bridge lasted 600 years.
600 years. That would be quite something.
They're talking about burning the bridge. Whoa. Where are we now? This is a change of scenery. The depths of poverty and suffering to luxury. So was he rescued?
Good morning. I'm looking for an American named Commander Chirevas.
Oh yes, down on the beach.
Oh, thank you very much.
He was? They found him and rescued him. Wow.
I'm going for a swim. Don't leave me. My name's Ward. We have a particular interest in that railway you worked on. This evening then, about 8, I'll send a car for you.
Out of the question.
Well, tomorrow morning then, about 10.
Okay, 10 o'clock.
Oh, thanks very much. Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, this is an interesting turn of events.
I know you're terribly sorry, but you're going to stand me up to it.
You couldn't be more wrong.
He sure didn't seem very torn up about all the guys he left behind in the camp.
Very clumsy, Joyce. Very clumsy.
Don't do that to the man.
You see? He's gained the initiative. Wait a minute.
I'm terribly sorry, sir.
I thought you were the enemy, sir.
Well, I'm an American, if that's what you mean.
That'll be all, Joyce.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Good grief.
Well, I was on my way to see Major Warden.
Oh, yes, I'll show you the way, sir. He should be finishing his lecture at any moment now, sir.
Was that supposed to happen?
That's the end of Major Warden's lecture, sir. Oh, very good of you to come along. Thank you, staff. Well, come along, then.
The way he just ran off.
We're using PE, plastic explosive now. It's wonderful stuff. Here. Oh. It's quite harmless until it's detonated.
Thanks for telling me.
It's completely waterproof. This is my place. Oh, I'm dying for a cup of tea.
Nice place. Look at that view.
By the way, I never congratulated you on your escape. It was a good show, I must say.
I was lucky. If your sea rescue plane hadn't spotted me, I wouldn't be here.
No, I suppose not.
That explains it.
But we think the camp is about here.
Say, do your intelligence people have any idea what happened to that Colonel Nicholson?
No. Our chief problem is lack of first-hand knowledge. Colonel Green has given me the Kwai Bridge. I'm going to take a team in and blow it up.
Lucky you.
So they're gonna spend all that time building that bridge and then the Allies are gonna come in and just blow it up.
How would you feel about going back?
I can't go back. I don't belong to you. I belong to the American Navy.
Yes, of course. Your navies turned you over to us.
Ooh.
They can't do this to me. I'm not a Navy commander. I'm not even an officer. When the Houston sunk, I made it ashore with an officer, and he was killed. I figured it was just a matter of time before I was captured, so...
So you changed uniforms with the dead man?
I thought officers would get better treatment in prison camps.
What? He's not even a real commander?
At the hospital, I took a look at the enlisted men's ward, and then I took a look at the officers' ward. There were certain definite advantages.
Yes, I saw one of them on the beach.
When the Navy brass learns the truth about me, they'll say, ship him home in irons for impersonating an officer, something like that. Once that happens, I've got it made.
Wow, this is a plot twist.
We've known about your actual rank for nearly a week. Your Navy's in an awkward position. I suppose that's why they were so happy to hand you over to us, you see?
Hot potato.
Wow.
We're fairly informal, so you'll have the simulated rank of major.
Simulated major. That figures. Well, as long as I'm hooked, I might as well volunteer.
Good show.
My goodness.
This is Major Shears. He's just volunteered to go back and help me blow up the Kwai Bridge.
Really? Good show. Jolly good show, Major.
Jolly good show. Like, there's such a, wry sense of humor in this movie. I love it.
Will someone tell me why the old man wants us to build a proper bridge?
Don't you worry about old Nick. He knows what he's doing.
I hope so. Now they're building at both ends instead of just one. They'll meet in the middle.
How's he behaving?
I must say he's been most reasonable since we took over.
I wonder what he's thinking.
I haven't the foggiest.
He always says, I haven't the foggiest.
Sir, are you convinced that building this bridge is a good idea?
Take another look, Clifton.
Why not?
They feed better and they are no longer abused or maltreated.
That's all true.
Well then.
What we're doing could be construed as collaboration with the enemy. Must we build them a better bridge than they could have built for themselves?
If you had to operate on Saito, would you do your best or would you let him die? Would you prefer to see this battalion disintegrate in idleness?
That was a good argument.
Don't you realize how important it is to show these people that they can't break us? One day the war will be over. I hope that the people who use this bridge will remember who built it. Not a gang of slaves, but soldiers, British soldiers. You're a fine doctor, Clifton, but you've a lot to learn about the army.
That was a fascinating exchange there.
Good morning.
I'm awfully sorry I'm late, sir.
You were in need of medical attention?
Sir?
I was referring to the nurse. You were an accountant in Montreal.
I just checked columns and columns of figures, and then there were other people who checked them after I had checked them.
Sounds a frightful bore. Could you kill without hesitation?
I don't honestly know, sir. Am I to go with the team, sir?
We'll let you know.
I feel like that's probably a no.
If he wants to go that bad, he can even take my place.
Well, we're all agreed on Joyce. He's yours. You've had parachute training, of course.
No, sir.
Last. This is awkward.
See, it never occurred to me.
Well, in that case, maybe...
Yes, he's right. We'd better arrange for practice jumps for him immediately.
Oh, man. Blast. Well, this is awkward.
Here's something that'll interest you. The new L pill.
L pill?
L for lethal. Instantaneous, painless.
In other words, you're telling me not to be taken alive. It's Warden I don't get.
When we lost Singapore, he stayed behind and blew up a couple of bridges, 1 or 2 trains, and I don't know how many other installations before the Japs caught him.
Caught him.
The consensus of opinion is that the most sensible thing for Major Shares to do is to go ahead and jump and hope for the best.
With or without parachute.
He's like, was I actually kidding or was I just using my morbid sense of humor? That's interesting that they mentioned that about Warden being captured before. Like, are they implying that could be a plot twist later that they've like bribed him or blackmailed him or something and he's actually gonna help them? I don't know. That's my paranoid side speaking. I trust no one.
He's in the trees.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Who was that? I don't even know which one that was.
We shall have to use women bearers. Very capable, I'm told. We shall have to sleep in the jungle.
What about Chapman, sir?
Yai's people will bury him and his chute.
Chapman. That's a shame.
Will someone tell me why I'm so indispensable to this outfit?
I know how you feel, but there's always the unexpected, isn't there?
Tell that to Chapman.
Let's get cracking.
Yeah, there's always the unexpected. Warden, I'm watching you. I feel like they're dropping hints, or maybe I'm just imagining that they're dropping hints. Gosh, it would be so hard cutting your way through that. Imagine the snakes and stuff and the deadly insects. It's like claustrophobic in there. Imagine the mosquitoes. I didn't even think about that. Be a nightmare zone for me. Mosquitoes love me as much as I hate them. Ugh.
You're lovely.
They're like making eyes at all the soldiers.
Blink! Blink!
Leeches.
Leeches.
Leeches? No. Oh god. Leeches are like a fear of mine. It's never happened to me, and I hope it never does. They freak me out.
Still, she wants to take the leeches off your back.
It's like ticks, but 10 times worse.
What's wrong with that thing, Joyce?
I don't know, sir. It's taken an awful beating.
It's wet, mildewed, corroded, rotten. Like everything else in this rotten jungle. You might as well dump it.
This is Radio Tokyo signing off.
That is some rough terrain, man. And imagine the humidity.
I've got it all decoded, sir. Enemy intends to open railway with passage of special train.
A train and a bridge. It's worth having a go for the train, don't you think?
Oh, by all means. Good hunting. Jolly good fun. Jolly, jolly good.
If you hadn't fixed the radio, we wouldn't know about the train.
Well, there's always the unexpected, isn't there?
I was just wondering what was going on with Colonel Nicholson and crew.
We're
We're facing a crisis. I've just spoken with Reeves and Hughes, and we're not going to finish the bridge on time.
Oh.
We just haven't the manpower, that's all. I've asked the officers to lend a hand, and they've agreed, but even that won't do it.
You mean the officers are going to work on the bridge?
What?
They volunteered to a man, but it's not enough.
Why don't you ask Saito for some of his men?
Wouldn't dream of it. No, this is our show. We must make the most of our own resources. As a matter of fact, that's what I came to talk to you about, the sick list.
What happened to the officers will do no manual labor?
There are always a few malingerers, aren't there? For those of you who feel up to it, how about lending the others a hand, eh?
Yes, sir.
Good show. Come on, follow me.
I don't know how much good they're gonna be. They're gonna be like on the brink of finishing right when the Allies get there and blow it up. It's gonna be like either right before they finish or right when they finish, and then it's just gonna go all their work undone. Oh my gosh, look at those bats. That is terrifying. Those are the biggest bats I've ever seen. Holy moly. He's such a ladies' man. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is terrifying. It's like the birds, but it's the bats.
Make sure they're all dead. Use your knife, man, or we'll be shooting each other.
Ooh. Is he gonna be able to use the knife? Those shadows going over is so creepy and makes the shots really, really cool. Ooh. He hesitated.
I could have done it. I was ready. Are you hit, sir?
Did he get shot? Joyce hesitated. It was just a young kid, and I don't know if he would have done it or not. Oh, he got shot in the foot.
I can walk on it. That's all counts at the moment.
Yeah, but how far and how fast?
We won't know that till I've tried it, will we?
Hope that wound doesn't get infected. Wow, did they actually shoot most of this movie on location? Because it looks pretty incredible. Yikes. I don't know if he's gonna make it. I don't know if he can make that climb.
You'll go on without me. That's an order. You're in command now, Shears.
I'm not going to leave you here to die, Warden. Because I don't care about your bridge, and I don't care about your rules. If we go on, we go on together.
Shears has actually got some integrity about him.
Run! All right.
Oh, there it is. It's almost finished.
Let's get closer.
They've got a British officer working down there on his knees. The Japanese seem to be enjoying it, too. If he knew we were here, it might boost his morale a little.
An officer working, huh?
We'll set the charges against the piles about 3 feet under the water, I should think. They're sure to have sentries on the bridge, so you'll have to float the stuff down from upriver.
This sounds very complicated.
I'd let you stay up here with the mortar if I could. I know. I'm sorry. When it's over, I hope you get that medical discharge, and not the hard way. Thanks.
I feel sorry for doubting Warden. I think he's a good guy. And I was trash talking him earlier. I was questioning him. Can't believe they got it done.
You ask yourself, what difference your being there at any time made? I don't know whether that kind of thinking is very healthy, but I must admit I've had some thoughts on those lines. But tonight, last. I must be off. The men are preparing some sort of entertainment.
That was quite a moment there between them after how things started off. Oh no.
Lovely.
Here we go. Well, good thing that's going on. The perfect distraction for them to get in there and plant their charges and stuff. Ooh, those are some dangerous rapids right there. Better hold on to that raft. What is he doing? That's like a mark of shame, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
Goodbye.
So far, so good.
As you know, most of you move on tomorrow. Now that your work here is finished, I suppose many of you feel somewhat let down.
Is he about to stab himself? I can't remember what that's called in the Japanese culture.
You have turned defeat into victory. I congratulate you. The king.
Oh my gosh, guys, it's taking so long. I keep waiting for something to go wrong. Not yet, though. They made it out of there.
I'll be directly across the river.
And now we wait. That's a pretty incredible view right there.
What's happened?
Nothing. I'm wondering what they're waiting on.
The river's gone down.
Oh. Is that gonna mess up their plan?
You can see the wire. The charges.
Well, what are they gonna do? Okay, I guess Colonel was just preparing for his bridge to be inspected the next day. Don't blow it up with the British guys on it. Shears should remember them. Be like, not yet, boys.
Don't wait for the train. Do it now.
Oh no.
If Saito's information is correct, the train should be along in 5 or 10 minutes.
If you don't mind, sir, I'll watch the ceremonies from up on the hill.
Good morning. River's gone down in the night.
Not Nicholson. Oh my gosh, I'm like holding my breath, guys. Oh no.
What's he doing?
Get off the bridge, man. Get off the bridge.
Colonel, there's something rather odd going on. I think we better have another look round before that train comes across.
He's gonna tell them about it? Dude.
He's gone mad. He's leading them right to it. Our own man.
Dude, if you're gonna do it, you better do it now, because you're about to get caught.
I was right. There is something going on.
Dude, oh my gosh. The suspense is killing me.
You've got to do it now.
I've just realized the bridge has been mined.
Mined?
Oh my gosh, he just killed him.
Officer, sir. British officer. Here to blow up the bridge. Blow up the bridge? Yes, sir. No! No!
Dude! Oh my gosh.
Kill him! Oh!
Oh my gosh.
Kill him, Joyce! Kill him!
Oh my gosh. Guys. I can't believe this is happening.
You. What have I done?
I had to do it. They might have been captured alive.
Oh my goodness. Everyone's dead. Yeah, that sums it up. I'm speechless, guys. Wow, y'all, it's not very often that the end of a film just leaves me totally speechless, but this one did. It felt, I mean, totally different films, but ironically both starring William Holden. That almost left me with a similar feeling as The Wild Bunch, which might seem kind of out of left field, but there's almost anarchy is not the word I'm looking for. It almost felt kind of nihilistic. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Both of those films where it's like the protagonist fights so hard to achieve something, working their way towards a goal, and in the end, all of that work and all of that struggle is completely undone. And you're left in the aftermath, the bloody aftermath of it all, going, what was the point? What was it all for? And I think it was kind of summed up pretty well with that scene where Colonel Nicholson was standing on the bridge talking about, like, you get to a point where you realize you're more near the end than the beginning, and you wonder, like, what was it all for, and what did I achieve in my life, and what was the purpose of it all? A very pertinent question when he's about to die and he doesn't know it, but oh my gosh, I had no idea how that was going to end because I was not familiar with the history at all, and I was like, what is about to happen? And oh my gosh, the helpless frustration of it all with Shears dying, Joyce dying, Nicholson dying, even the Japanese colonel died, everybody died, pretty much. And the frustration of Nicholson, like, I don't know what it is. I guess kind of like Stockholm syndrome, like when you're a prisoner of someone else for too long and you almost like become a friend and you become allied with your captor. And I think that's what happened there, is like he was there too long and he ended up cooperating with and working with the Japanese so much that like at the end he goes, it's like he snaps out of a trance and he goes, what have I done? Because he just totally botched the plan of the Allies, which is the team he was on. And he could have just walked off the bridge, walked off like nothing happened and just let it unfold. But he had, I don't know if it was like a loyalty to them necessarily, the Japanese, but it was like to himself and his men, like his pride in, we built this bridge. We worked so hard to build this bridge, and it's like a testament to what we have done, that he took it personally that they were about to blow it up instead of thinking in terms of like the Allies versus the Axis powers. Like he wasn't even thinking straight anymore. He went mad. I mean, like Clifton said at the end, he's just like, madness. And I mean, like him just saying that over and over sums up the film. I feel like that was the theme of the film, because the whole time, like from the beginning, they're debating. I think it was either Saito or Saito. I don't remember how you're supposed to say it, but we're gonna go with Saito. They're talking about him and Colonel Nicholson from the beginning, like comparing them to each other and saying, are they both mad or am I mad? Like I remember Clifton saying that, like, because it was such an absurd situation. Obviously, all these men in the jungle in a prisoner of war camp and the hierarchy that forms and all of that stuff, the depravity that men will go to, like how they'll torture each other in those kinds of situations, like baking Nicholson in an oven for who knows how long. I don't know how long the exact time period was, but like it was so absurd. Like Nicholson was so determined to stick to his code at the expense of his men, like they're not going to work, right? And he stuck to his guns and it worked out in the end, like that cooperation that formed with building the bridge and all of that. But then later it's like there were officers working on the bridge and you're like, what was all that for, sticking to your code and stuff, if you're just gonna cave in the end and then have the officers working on the bridge? Why didn't you just do that from the beginning? I guess it was a pride thing, like making a statement, or maybe he thought they would receive better treatment if he stood his ground at the beginning, and then once the cooperation was formed, he didn't think that kind of tough talk was necessary. I feel like this is a movie I feel like I could talk about for a long time. There was a lot to it, and I feel like it definitely requires more than one viewing to really take in all of the themes and the nuances of it all. Very gray movie, not a very black and white movie, and there weren't just like straight up heroes in this movie in terms of I felt like they all had very prominent and different flaws like in their thinking. And again, it's kind of making me think of the Wild Bunch, because it's like you had I don't want to say they weren't upstanding. Like, I feel like Nicholson was a pretty upstanding guy, but he, I think, had too much hubris, and that's what kind of messed him up. And then Shears was not who he claimed to be at all. So like he was not necessarily a man of integrity with like impersonating an officer and all of that, but he ended up kind of being the man with the most integrity, like refusing to leave Warden behind and actually seeing the mission through to the end and getting killed trying to see the mission through to the end. I don't know, in some ways I felt like he was the most gentleman of them all, even though he was kind of rough around the edges. I feel like I'm kind of going in circles. It was such a complex movie with very interesting and complex characters, and it was a very long movie, longer than I typically prefer, but it added to the grueling, just meticulous feeling of the film. I felt like I was there in the trenches with them building that bridge. It was so meticulous how all of it was shown and shot. Very authentic feeling, just on location wherever they shot it. I don't know if they were like actually in that location or if they kind of filmed it somewhere else on location, but the way it was shot and everything was very gritty and authentic feeling and exhausting, honestly. Like, I felt like I was going through that with them, like building that bridge and going through all their different struggles and the plan to blow up the bridge and then the plan falling apart, and I didn't know if they were going to succeed or not, because again, I was not familiar with the history of this at all. I was like, are they going to succeed? Are they not going to succeed? Like, what's going to happen? And then Nicholson foiling the plan, that was the most painful part of it all. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now he's gonna die too, and no one's gonna blow up the bridge. I don't know why I even cared about them blowing up the bridge. I guess just so they didn't fail, but at the same time, I felt bad about them blowing up the bridge because all those British soldiers worked so hard to build it. And so, like, I was kind of like Nicholson in that, or not like Nicholson, but I was kind of like having the mixed feelings of like rooting for them to blow up the bridge, but also feeling sad about them blowing up the bridge at the same time. But oh my gosh, Nicholson. And then I was like, no one's going to blow up the bridge. And then he falls onto the thing and triggers the explosives. And oh my gosh, that was one of the most suspenseful things I've ever seen in my life. Like, watching that unfold for like 10 minutes. Again, that kind of felt like the Wild Bunch. Just these really long sequences building the suspense, building the tension, waiting for it to happen. And you're like, what's going to happen? And you're just holding your breath and you're on the edge of your seat. Like, it was a very slow film overall, like not a lot of action. But oh my gosh, that last like 20 minutes just building the suspense to the climax and being like, how is this all going to go down at the end? Because it's been building and building and building all that time. Wow. However I thought it was going to end, that was not it. I thought we were going to lose some guys, but that was not how I thought it was going to go down. And oh my gosh, what a performance from Alec Guinness in particular. Like, wow, again, I hadn't seen him as anything but Obi-Wan in Star Wars, and so that was just an incredible performance by him. And of course, I'm like hearing Obi-Wan's voice the whole time, but like, he did an amazing job in that film. All the complexities, all the nuances of it all, and William Holden too. Like, those are some heavy hitters in that film, and wow, it felt very philosophical in the midst of all of that, just asking a lot of questions, and at the end you're left going, what was the point of all that? I don't even feel like I should say like any more about it in terms of the theme or the characters or the questions or anything, because I feel like I just kind of need to sit and let this simmer for a while and think about it, because that was a heavy movie with a lot going on and a lot of characters. And yeah, I'm just going to sit and think on this one for a while, guys. But I do know this. I do know this after a first watch. Amazing cast with amazing performances, cinematography, just the gritty realism of it, the script, everything really, really top notch in the way it was made, with just a gut punch of an ending. Like, oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, definitely feels like an epic of a film. Like you feel like you've gone on a major journey after watching this film, and you really just get in the trenches with these characters. So I am really, really glad. As I am someone who prefers happy endings for sure, but I can also appreciate tragic films like this that just gut punch you and leave you thinking about them and stewing on them for a while. So thank you guys very much. I can't even remember who gave this to me in the mailbag, but thank you to that person. And I'm really glad I finally got to watch this movie, because I've kind of heard rumblings about it for a while, never really knew what it was about, but it came very highly recommended to me, and I'm glad I checked it out, because it definitely feels like an iconic classic. So I'm glad I finally checked that one off my list, and it was a really grueling but enjoyable watch, and I'm glad I checked it out. So thank you guys so much for coming along for the ride with me. I hope you enjoyed this reaction, and be sure to head on over to my Patreon, link in the description below, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this movie. And be sure to like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys next week for another Film Friday.